Alright guys, y'all really liked the first two videos when we did this, so might as well make a third. And I want to tell y'all thank you so much for all the support. I was not expecting this fantasy baseball channel to see near this much traction, but even though I have no idea what I'm talking about, even though I'm just a guy who really likes Major League Baseball, really likes fantasy sports, and I'm trying my best to put it together, I mean, y'all have showed so much support, and I just am truly appreciative of it. And what we are going to continue to do is we are going to continue to look towards the people who really understand what they're doing, the people who are playing in these high-stakes fantasy baseball leagues that are putting up thousands of dollars per league, per buy-in, and we're going to be looking at their average draft position data and comparing it to what we have from Yahoo ADP and going, okay, what are the people who are spending thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on fantasy baseball thinking versus the people who are playing with their friends? And I understand a lot of y'all are going to say, but Mason, trust me, I'm smarter than these guys and I'm just playing with my friends. And that's a fair point. But with the aggregate, I think we can say that the ADP of these guys that are willing to put up that much money, they better be willing to do that research. So I think we can learn a ton from this data. And to go along with this, we are going to be looking at projections from RotoChamp. And what RotoChamp is not a sponsor for the video or anything. All it is a website that is pulling projections from other fantasy baseball websites and creating an overall aggregate, because I'm not smart enough to make my own projections. So of course we are going to be looking elsewhere. But let's get into it and let's pull up our first player, which is going to be Brandon Woodruff, who right now is going 53rd overall in Yahoo leagues according to his ADP. And if you go over to the NFC, oh my gosh, he makes a drastic jump up to where he's going 32nd overall. We understand that this is a big difference. And then we go, okay, what is he projected to see in 2021? And they have him projected for 172 innings pitched, a 3.51 ERA, a 1.16 whip. We know we like to see that whip as well as the innings pitched. But the problem is strikeouts aren't necessarily extremely high, only hovering around 1.13 strikeouts per inning. We know that we would like that number a little bit higher. And also the problem with Brandon is if we go through and try to look at a single season where we have had the 150, 160, 170 innings pitched before, and we go, okay, this is something we can dive into. This is a large sample. It's indicative of what we can expect from future production. He simply doesn't have that. He simply has a lot of seasons that are like 60, 70, 80 innings pitched. So what we are going to do is we are going to look at his career-long numbers instead, because it's a little bit closer to a full season. And I will say, disclaimer, this is including his first year in the majors. In his first year in the majors, the whip was extremely high. I mean, pretty much nothing about it was fantastic. But over his career, we are seeing in a 280 innings pitched that he has 1.1 strikeouts per inning, a number we don't like to see, a 3.66 ERA. So what we can draw from this is the fact that these projections for 2021 are probably a little bit conservative, considering the fact that he should continue to progress. He should continue to get better. And his career-long aggregate numbers are including his very poor season with his first year in the majors. So I think we can look at this player and going, if you're playing in a casual fantasy baseball draft and you're able to get him in the 5th round, while high-stakes drafters are taking him in the 3rd, clearly that's something you're going to want to do every single time. All right, so now let's get our next player up. The difference here isn't that big, but it's still notable. It's going to be Zac Gallen, who right now is going with the 40th pick overall in high-stakes fantasy baseball drafts and the 49th overall pick in Yahoo leagues. And very similar here to Brandon. I mean, we do not have that single season where we can look and go, you know what? It's a full sample. We can look at these numbers and try to project future performances. But what we have is we have his career-long numbers where we just take the aggregate of everything and throw it in a bunch and go, okay, what is this? And we only have 152 innings pitched in the majors, but during those innings, he has been incredible with a whip down there at 1.1, a strikeouts per inning ratio up there at 1.2, and an ERA sitting at 2.78. So we go, okay, we don't have the large sample, but the sample we do have is going to be pretty nice if he can just hit these numbers. I mean, he is going to easily crush his ADP going in the mid-4th of these high-stakes leagues, in the beginning of the 5th, in the casual formats. And, I mean, we can also say, yeah, I mean, we don't have that single season where he has a ton to show for it, but those career-long numbers, that equates to pretty much 1 year where we look at the projections and we go, is there a sharp difference here? And the projections have him for 2021 with 169 innings pitched, a 3.78 ERA, a 1.24 whip, and 1.1 strikeouts per inning pitched. So we can look at this overall and go, these are probably fair projections. I think we would lean on being a little bit more aggressive on the strikeouts per inning pitched. But like I said, we're not making projections. We're just going off of it. And it is notable that we are seeing the difference between high stakes drafters and casual drafters here, deciding to take him in a different range. All right, let's get our last pitcher up here. Someone that we have also talked about a significant amount on this channel. It's going to be Lucas Giolito, who right now has an ADP in the early 3rd round of those casual fantasy leagues. And his ADP is in the mid-2nd round of high-stakes leagues. And this makes sense. I mean, this makes sense for these high-stakes drafters to be prioritizing him at the beginning of drafts, because the last full season that we had, I mean, he looked fantastic. We had 3 complete games pitched in 2019, a 3.41 ERA, but more importantly, a 1.06 whip and 1.3 strikeouts per inning pitched. So we go, okay, he can have a ton of innings pitched. He can get strikeouts at a high clip. He can keep the whip down. Everything there you want to see. And we look at his 2021 projections from RotoChamp, and they have him for 178 total innings pitched, a 3.64 ERA, a 1.16 whip, and 1.22 strikeouts per inning. So this is another guy that if you're playing in one of those casual formats, if you can get him at the beginning of the 3rd, that's going to be a steal compared to where he's going in those high stakes leagues. Now, thank you guys. That's all I have for y'all. I really hope y'all enjoyed the video. I really hope y'all got something from it. As always, if y'all did, go down there, drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. It helps us out a ton, and I'll see y'all with the video tomorrow.